What's going on, Reject Nation? First off, this guy needs a haircut. Secondly, John and I, we did an interview with two of the directors and one of the writers from Raya and the Last Dragon. The movie is great, by the way. Highly encourage you guys to go ahead and check it out. We talked about a lot of things in this interview, actually, from the animation, the action, the villain. There's chapters in the video if you guys want to hop around. Also do want to give you guys a heads up. We did actually shoot a movie reaction for this. We are just beginning to edit right now. So I'm saying, guys, go ahead, check out Raya and the Last Dragon. It's a wonderful film. Later this week, you'll get to see John and I laugh and cry. Yep, it's an emotional experience. Enjoy. Hi, we're Greg and John with The Real Rejects. How you guys doing?
Good, we're good.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet all of you. We watched this movie last night, and you successfully made two grown men cry.
Yes.
A lot of tears by the end of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
We were very, very much moved.
Because this is aimed right at us.
We're the target demographic.
Clearly.
Right in the pocket. Yes, exactly.
Was it towards the end, in the middle, a few different parts?
Definitely the finale moment.
Yeah.
The last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we must have just been in tears the entire time. And then it just wouldn't stop.
It's pretty common. It's pretty common with us.
Yeah, if it's any consolation, we're not immune to it either. I mean, we still do the same thing when we watch it. So
We just make fun of Don when it happens. It's really fun.
Through your own tear streaks, basically.
Don, why are you crying? You're the one that's supposed to be stone cold.
Out of us three, Don is for sure the coolest. So whenever we got to the core and he was like really opening up about it, we knew that we had hit on something special.
We were very impressed, especially by the finale moments. And actually, for kind of our kicker off question, one thing I did want to ask was actually in regards to the villain Namaari, who's not really like a full-on antagonist. I'm not sure who would even be the best one to answer for this question, but she ended up being our favorite character quite early on in the movie. And I don't know if that's most people's takeaway yet. But what was the approach with fleshing this character out? Because she's not a full-on villain. She's actually got one of the biggest arcs in the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Everyone answers at the same time.
I mean, there was something that like we three really wanted to make sure that when we wrote, created this character, she was a nemesis that we could sympathize with, much like Killmonger for Black Panther. Like you understood that point of view, and in a lot of ways, Namaari is Raya, except for the big difference is Raya met Sisu, and if there's a version of this movie where Namaari found Sisu first, and she would have brought the gems together and had to convince Raya to get along. But obviously, she is just a badass, so it's hard not to love this person with like the guns that she has and the attitude that she throws.
We actually had to pull back, to be honest, and I don't even think we told the story yet.
Yes, exclusive.
Big spoiler. Because we had the same journey with Namaari. We had these expectations of wanting to really flesh her out and not be a one-dimensional sort of antagonist. But I think we actually almost took it too far, because there's a scene in the movie where we cut back to Fang. And the shot, it starts with the dragonfly, and then you see these drones, right? And then we go to Fang. That scene actually was Namaari returning to Fang and fighting her way through a bunch of drones.
Saving one of her own people.
Yeah. And saving her own squad there. And it was really cool, boarded by co-director John Ripa. Everything he boards is beautiful. And we fell in love with it. And then we watched the movie and we realized, it's too early to be, Team Namaari. We got to be Team Raya here for a while.
Yeah.
And it was really hard, but we had to cut that out of the movie.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was bad, but there was an entire past where we were just like, hey, we can't let people fall in love with Namaari that much, because we're going to start rooting for her. And then like our movie is going to get really confused. And like,
I thought it was brilliant. We were really, really impressed with it. And also, we're suckers for good action scenes. I mean, obviously, like Don, with your work in Big Hero 6, that was some of the best animated action I've seen from Disney. But the action here, especially, I'm actually half Asian, so I felt quite represented watching this movie, I want to add. And I grew up on like a lot of Hong Kong cinema as well. But I'm curious, because like when this trailer came out, a lot of people were referencing things like Avatar and Tomb Raider. And then, but I watched the action scenes, I was flashing back more to the Kung Fu flicks I grew up on. What were the inspirations you guys were drawing from? Were there actual specific like action movies or action stars?
Types of martial arts?
Well, I mean, I got to be the like fight consultant on the film, and we definitely
Really?
did on real martial arts, which were
Awesome.
Jacks a lot, Muay Thai, Arnis, and traditional Vietnamese wrestling. So it was like based on real things. When it comes to the Shaw Brothers stuff, it was all wire work stuff. For us, we wanted to really base it on like real world physics. So though they're more athletically gifted, like all these moves are possible, and so that was something really important. And then we came to like visual inspirations that I kind of, recommended for the animators to see. It was like Tony Jaa, it was Ong Bak, it was The Raid, it was Chocolate. So it's definitely, they got to see some real good, Southeast Asian martial arts to kind of just draw their inspirations from.
Yeah, it was really, to put it bluntly, it was really badass. it was probably the best hand-to-hand combat in any Disney movie we've ever seen, for sure.
And I think just for that, like, there's a lot of inspiration that we're pulling from the kinds of movies and the kinds of filmmakers that we like the most. So there's a lot of that coming from Qui, but there's also a lot of the classic 90s epic. One movie in particular, I'm going to let Don name that movie because it's his reference, and we made fun of him for bringing it up in every single meeting.
Every day for a year.
It was Raiders. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's one of my favorite.
Hell
movies.
yeah.
Some of that.
And, obviously there's some real like when she's getting the gem out of the skeleton hand. That's very much like Indy. But it's almost a perfect action film. Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's just almost a perfect film. But it did come up a lot in our discussions, to the point where I think these guys rolled their eyes. They're still rolling their eyes every time it comes up.
It was all of that, and then I think to top it off, we really wanted to infuse the movie with like some contemporary filmmaking choices. So we looked a lot at Taika Waititi and Edgar Wright, and some of these Danny Boyle, some of these filmmakers that use like really stylized visual storytelling. So I think that the combination of all these sensibilities is hopefully what results in something unexpected when you think about this movie. You come in expecting one thing, and hopefully it surprises you a few times.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys pulled a lot from live action influences, especially.
I think our lighting team, our cinematography team, some of the camera work, some of the lens choices, some of the rendering, like really everyone stepped it up. I mean, Don, who's been at Disney for longer than any of us, 3. Don has been there for a long time, and he took on the role of our mentor, and we look up to him with respect. Sorry,
I told these guys earlier, it's like in all stories, the mentor always dies. So I don't know. I'm going Obi-Wan here in a minute. I don't know.
It's a little bit of a flip, though.
You're already a Force ghost.
We just laugh because every interview we've been starting by saying, Don's been there for a long, long time. It's really just it's a sign of respect more than anything. But anyway, he's been there for a long time, and the amount of times that he looked at us and was just like, I've never seen anything like this in any of our movies. Like the amount of action, the visual quality of the image. So to be able to surprise the people who are doing this every day and have been doing it for a long, long time, I think was a really good reward for us.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, because I know we only got a couple minutes here. How did you then approach balancing all these different action influences and all this, swashbuckling with, I have to imagine a lot of research went into the culture behind the movie, and even with the shifts in animation style that we really loved. How did that all kind of come together?
Well, the research was foundational, and, we came on the movie about 1.5 years ago, but a lot of the research had been done even previous to that, because this project goes back 6 years in total. So I think there were 3 research trips to many different cultures and countries in Southeast Asia over the course of that 6 years. And, a ton of experts from the cultures themselves that they met on these research trips became our Southeast Asian Story Trust. So they consulted on everything from clothing to music to architecture. And that was absolutely huge. And then the mixing of stuff. I mean, some of those scenes, like the stylistic scenes, we knew we wanted the prologue. We thought, okay, that'd be great to use shadow puppetry. That was like preordained and kind of thought through. And, a special team was built to actually pull that off. The other ones kind of happened just, I don't know, we were looking at scenes and kind of said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we changed the style? Thinking that we would be told no, like our visual effects supervisor would look at us and be like, but they're like, okay, cool, let's try some stuff. And some of it is based on, so early on Big Hero 6, one of the animators did just an early test and did a look similar to that on this test. Not saying it was going to be the look of the movie, but just as something cool. And I just had that in the back of my head, and we pulled that out and looked at it, and everybody thought, yeah, that's cool. Let's go for something like that. And they pulled it off.
As wise and grizzled as Don may be, he does say, wouldn't it be cool, a lot. And I think kind of like the secret to like a lot of his, like Don's movies in particular, that keeps surprising us when he becomes a big hero, to Moana, to this. There's a lot of like, wouldn't it be cool if? And then people in Disney just love getting in. It's like, yeah, it would be cool, and they just follow it through. But I do give credit for Don for letting us, push.
Wow. That was one of our favorite parts, was different animation styles infused throughout with the flashbacks, especially. Our time is up. But Qui, Don, Carlos, thank you guys. Don Carlos, it sounds like a name in itself. Thank you guys so much for your time. And last thing I'll say, Carlos, Blind Spotting was my favorite movie that year. Should have won Best Picture. Just gonna throw that out there. All right.
Agreed.
Thank you guys.
Hard to agree.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Guys.